Hi, I'm Charlize Theron with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. If you've ever stopped and smiled at the dogs in a pet store window, you've probably been tempted to take one home. But did you realize the dollars you'd spend on one of those cute little puppies would support a really ugly industry? You see, almost all the puppies for sale at your local mall were churned out by breeding facilities called puppy mills. There are thousands of these mills across the United States, supplying stores with 500,000 puppies a year. It's all about quantity and profit, with little, if any, care given to the individual animals. In fact, the conditions common to most mills are so inhumane, the dogs are left in various states of physical and mental anguish. Just how cruel is the pet shop business? See for yourself. Peter recently went undercover at this puppy mill in the Midwest. Like the animals at most breeding factories, these dogs were kept in wire cages that offer little or no protection from blistering heat, driving rain, or bitter cold. These dogs are used for breeding. Their babies will be ripped away from them and sold, but they are likely to spend their entire lives at the puppy mill. They are impregnated continually until they can no longer produce a litter, at which point they are discarded or killed. The dogs seldom, if ever, receive veterinary care, so diseases and ailments like this Cocker Spaniel's chronic eye infection run rampant. This poodle is also suffering from an eye infection. It is so severe, her eye has become caked shut. At one point, 2 years passed without a veterinarian visiting this facility. Another poodle, like many of the animals at this puppy mill, suffers from mange, a skin disease aggravated by the dog's dirty and stressful living conditions. As clumps of fur fall out, raw, infected skin becomes exposed. Untreated, the mange spreads to other dogs. Like this miniature pinscher, whose legs are too short to scratch her hindquarters. She's reduced to spinning on the bottom of her wire cage, endlessly trying to relieve the itching caused by the disease. Here, PETA's investigator frees a Labrador retriever from a collar that caretakers neglected to loosen or remove as the dog grew. Over time, the collar became embedded in the dog's flesh, eventually causing rotting tissue and infection. Amazingly, the puppy mill owner described this dog as one of her favorites. Dogs who are injured suffer indefinitely. Without proper veterinary care, injured limbs can heal improperly. This Doberman's broken leg is never set, and this wound, possibly caused by another dog or by repeated rubbing against the hutch's small door, is never treated. Deformities are ignored as well. This dog is left to function as well as he can on 3 legs while living in a wire bottom cage. The wire floors, painful to the soft pads on the dog's paws, allow feces to build up in mounds just below the cage. The dogs must live with the inescapable stench of excrement. Such conditions welcome uninvited guests at mealtime. The dog's food, allowed to become wet and contaminated, is infested with maggots. Feeding time presents yet another trauma for one of these Pomeranians. She's being terrorized by her cage mate, who will not allow her to eat. The uncaring way the dogs are grouped together not only makes such behavior common, it violates the Animal Welfare Act, which requires breeders to separate aggressive animals from others. Sooner or later, constant confinement drives the dogs mad. Some begin to bounce off the walls, literally. Others pace, not just for short periods of time, but constantly. Deprived of proper exercise and companionship, this is the only life they know. Their whole world is confined to a small cage. For many of the dogs, that inescapable reality sends them spinning endlessly in circles. Although the speed at which this dog spins further into madness seems unreal, the tape is being shown at normal speed. Every animal at the puppy mill has a story of confinement, neglect, injury, or disease. And there are hundreds of dogs. So many, in fact, dogs like this one are routinely overlooked, even though someone has left a note that reads, "Don't forget this dog." Please don't forget that dog, or the millions of others trapped in puppy mills across the country. Remember, they're suffering the next time you pass a pet store. If you put a puppy on your charge cart, you'll keep operations like the one you've just seen in business. It's that simple. As long as there's a market for their babies, dogs will continue to be bred, neglected, and killed at puppy mills. So if you have the time, the patience, the money for veterinary care, and the love to share, go to your local pound or shelter instead of a pet shop. You'll find lots of dogs, every size, color, and breed. They are beautiful, loving dogs just waiting to be adopted. Dogs who desperately need homes. Think of it this way. If you choose a dog from the mall, a dog you could have saved from the pound will die, and the pet shop will just keep on ordering more dogs to sell. But if you adopt an animal from a shelter, you'll not only save her life, you'll also help end the suffering of countless dogs at puppy mills. In other words, your good deed will be rewarded twice. To find out what else you can do to help, please contact PETA. Thank you.